Brandon Lee Gowton of Bleeding Green Nation joins us. Many years on the beat of the Philadelphia Eagles. What's up, BLG?
Hey, Johnny Marks. How's it going?
So it was one of the more weird endings of a game into press conferences that I can remember in a really long time. I know at the end of Doug's last year, we got in the real bizarro world with Doug and some of the questions and answers that he had. And it's starting to look a little bit like that with Nick. But what was your whole take on everything that happened from when the Eagles clinched the game and Sirianni's yelling at the fans to when the press conference is over to yesterday where he's made to apologize?
That press conference was one of the more bizarre press conferences, probably the most bizarre I probably ever attended since really doing this since 2013. So over 10 years now. Talking to multiple people who witnessed that press conference afterwards, the words deranged, on the brink, unhinged were coming up. That was a strange experience. I kept looking around the room during that Nick Sirianni press conference, like, am I the only one seeing this? Like, this is strange. And and look, I've been critical of Nick Sirianni, but like, it was to the point where, and the totality of everything, the game, the shaved head, just the whole combination of everything, it just really made me wonder, like, is this guy okay? We have an article about this up on bleedinggreennation.com, and like, I didn't write it, but I was feeling the same question. I was like, is this guy all right? It was all very strange. And look, I mean, paired with, the poor performance on the field, it's just not really confidence inspiring stuff.
Here's what I think happened. He gets in and somebody from the Eagles tells him, yo, camera's got you yelling at Eagles fans and taunting Eagles fans. And he totally has an anxiety attack. He has an, oh bleep, what have I done? And they start telling him, all right, you got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do this. You got to say this. You got to say that. And he just totally freaked out. Because, like, I don't think Nick's, I like Nick. I think Nick's a good guy. Bringing the kids up there made it that much worse. And then, like, the back and forth where somebody asks about A.J. Brown, and he's going, oh, yeah, like he wants to be A.J. Brown. Like, you love A.J. Brown. You love A.J. Brown, right? And he's up there cursing with the kids there. Like, BLG, I had to stop watching it because it was so hard to watch.
Yeah.
I like everything was so bad. I've never seen anything like it.
I'm a nervous laugher. So like, I was like laughing a little bit, not in like a way where I was like making fun of him, but like I felt so uncomfortable watching it. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is not going well. I feel strange being here. Strange situation. Yeah. The kids thing, there's been a lot of talk about that. I mean, my take on that is just that, like, that's not something he does. I've seen him at many press conferences where he'll bring out one of his kids, sure. But like, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think he's brought out like his whole family like that since like the NFC Championship game that they won. If I'm remembering correctly, I have to double check on that. But like, the whole thing was weird. I think that theory of yours could be good. I mean, there's no way he didn't know. Like that's the PR's job is to let Nick Sirianni know what he's going to be asked about. So there's no chance that he didn't know that. And I did think it took a little bit more time than usual for him to actually get out to the presser. Usually Nick is really good about that. He gets out pretty much like right away as soon as he's done talking to the team in the locker room. So yeah, a very unusual day at the Link.
All right. Well, I mean, overall, if I'm grading the win, I mean, I want to say a B-. They did win. It was not impressive. There was a blocked field goal that I can't really blame the Eagles for. Myles Garrett's just a freak athlete, right? So it's like, all right, it wasn't a convincing win. It wasn't a convincing win. They also could have scored on that last drive, right? So then it would have been a double-digit win, and I don't know if people look at it the same way. It doesn't make me feel any better about this season, but like, Jalen Hurts looked good. The defense played relatively well. That's a historically bad offense for the Browns. But, like, all right, they got to win. They have a lot more to prove. But, like, I wouldn't have totally crapped on them yesterday if this whole Sirianni nonsense didn't happen after the game.
It's very funny how you brought that up. And like, oh, yeah, by the way, they won the game. Like, what should be the most important thing is just like a footnote of what happened at the Link on Sunday. I mean, they did need to win. Like, it's just losing to that team would have been unacceptable. It's just they couldn't have done that. The team is so bad. And I can't say I feel more encouraged about the team. And I ran a poll on BGN about this, and with over like 2,000 people voting, we only have 15% who feel encouraged about that. The Eagles' outlook after the game versus 85% who feel discouraged. And I think that's been obviously a lot of the discourse that matches. Look, I mean, it's just another game where they haven't scored in the first quarter. It's 7 straight games now. The only team in the NFL has not scored in the first quarter. That Browns team was missing their top 3 safeties. They were banged up elsewhere. They were missing Jordan Hicks, old friend, starting linebacker. Like, that's not the most amazing. They still have some good players, but it's not the most.
Yeah, there's no reason to believe everything's fine with the
unit.
Eagles. And it's that honestly bothers me more than other than the kid stuff. Nick Sirianni's answer at the press conference where he's almost bullying you guys into saying, like, no, trust me, it's fine. I'm going to take care of it personally. Don't make a big deal about this. Stop harping on the same thing. I know it's been so many games we haven't scored in the first quarter, but it's fine. I promise. Like, I'm telling you it's fine. Like, okay, then score some points in the first quarter. BLJ, we used to complain about Andy Reid after his first 15. He didn't call plays well. Like, that's where we had a problem. But his first 15 were the best I've ever seen. It's the exact opposite here. The first 15 are the worst 15.
It's pathetic. Like, they have 4 punts and 1 interception. That's what their first drives have produced this year. Most of them were 3 and outs. There was one that wasn't. They picked up like 1 first down, I think. It's been terrible. And to that point, Nick, if I'm responding to Nick now, you brought it up in his voice. Like, you had the bye week. Like, how is this not, like, when is it going to get fixed? If it's not fixed coming out of the bye, when you have all this extra time to prepare, you're getting healthy, you're at home, you have every reason to look at this. And if you want to say, like, oh, Kellen Moore is part of the problem, sure, okay, maybe, but the CEO head coach needs to look at pain points for the team and big areas of problems and come up with solutions or help fix it. So, like, there's every reason self-scouting, should have led to them being able to start a little bit stronger than they did. And it wasn't even like, okay, they came out strong and, like, some kind of weird things happened. No, they, like, ran the ball once. Okay, sure. And then they had, like, 2 difficult pass attempts. It's like, well, maybe how about get some easy passes going? Maybe work Jalen Hurts into a rhythm for once. Like, to see that coming out of the bye like that is what leaves me discouraged. And that's why I'm not going to – why does he deserve the benefit of the doubt? That's the big issue.
Yeah, he doesn't. Update us on injuries, Brandon Lee Gowton. Mailata walking off the field on those crutches was like, this is at least a multiple week injury. And I think they confirmed that yesterday. What does it look like for Mailata, and what other injuries do we have that we should be looking at?
Yeah, for Nick Sirianni to even comment on injuries, which he doesn't really like do a whole lot anymore. On Mailata, said he'd be out for a couple of weeks. I think he probably meant more than literally just 2, the way he kind of phrased it like that. So, I'm not going to rule out maybe injured reserve. We'll see. For Jordan Mailata, that could mean he, misses at least 4 games. Maybe they're hopeful he could come back for that 4th game, so they don't put him on. We'll see about that. But I think Fred Johnson will probably get the first crack at it. Obviously, that's what the Eagles went with when Lane Johnson missed time. But I think there's kind of a short leash there because Fred Johnson, well, I think he's done a decent enough job filling in for both Mailata and Lane Johnson in game. He's had some struggles, and that was really on display in the Bucs game. So maybe you could eventually, and Nick Sirianni didn't rule this out when asked about it, you could move Mekhi Becton from right guard over to left tackle where he's played before, and then have Tyler Steen come in. And Steen, I think, has done a decent job when he's had to play this year at guard. So you could be looking at that. And then with Goddard and Slay, apparently Slay's okay. Seems like he might have a chance to play this week day to day. I don't think we've really heard anything on Goddard yet, who went out early and then just, didn't come back.
Yeah, Goddard, I mean, that's got to be at least a game based on what we've seen from hamstrings. They didn't even try to get him back in the game. So I'd be surprised if he didn't miss additional time. That Mailata injury, and I'm stating the obvious, that's a huge injury, especially if you're talking about more than a game or 2, which it certainly looks like and feels like it's going to be. That's a big. Fred Johnson did a good job when he came in that first start. Then they game planned for him and they attacked him, and he wasn't good in that next start. So, I mean, now they know, hey, this is the new left tackle. How do we go after him? And, like, he's a good story, and he's been good depth on this team. The whole different story when you're starting, and they're going to be up in New York this weekend, and they're going to attack him right away.
Yeah, Mailata hadn't missed a snap in almost 2 years. Like, he's been an Iron Man for them. Played every single snap last year. So, like, and he's a good player. So, yeah, to be missing that is a pretty big deal. And I agree with you. Like, I think Fred Johnson, I think he can help you get through the game. If there's an injury in the game, okay, you can survive. They've done that now twice and won. But yeah, going into the game as a full-time starter, that's a little bit more questionable. And against that Giants pass rush, that unit looked good against the Bengals on Sunday night. That unit looked like Brian Burns is killing it. That unit has juice. So yeah, that's for years the Giants pass rush has been inept and weak and nothing to worry about. This year, that's different.